question that people usually ask me is, what is Whuffie anyway? Well, this guy, if you don't recognize him, his name is Cory Doctorow, and he writes for a blog called Boing Boing. And Cory's really crazy about this place called Disneyland. Who here's been to Disneyland? Well, he's so crazy about Disneyland that he wrote a book where his characters actually live in Disneyland. And it's called Down and Out in the Magic Kingdom. And in Down and Out in the Magic Kingdom, in this sort of futuristic sci-fi book, instead of money, there's something he calls Whuffie. And Whuffie is roughly equivalent to something like social capital, which includes things like reputation, connections, strong and weak, influence, people's access to resources and more connections, favors added up, reciprocity, which is really important, public accomplishments, levels of trust, and so on and so forth. Well, in Cory's future, when you ping somebody's Whuffie, you get back a score. And a high score means that you basically have a good reputation. You trust them, you listen to their advice. But it can also buy you stuff like cars, vacations, and food. But this should sound familiar to you, because I looked at this and thought, this isn't the future. And it's definitely not science fiction. It's real and it's here, right now. It's really how we relate to each other in online communities. So this here is my friend wheel from Facebook. Who here has done the friend wheel thing on Facebook? So this only represents like a small number of my connections, both strong and weak, that I have. You know, I have now over 2,500 Facebook friends, but that's nothing compared to my Twitter numbers, which are actually probably over 26,000 now, I think, on Twitter, but I only follow about 1,300 back. Now, these are people I have strong and weak connections to, and I'm definitely not telling you this to show off, although that's pretty substantial. I mean, I'm originally a small town Alberta girl. Why would 26,000 people want to follow a small town Alberta girl in her ramblings about what she's having for dinner? But, you know, I'm telling you this because I'm not that unique. There are a lot of people on social networks now. I mean, these numbers are probably out of date as we speak. They're growing and growing and growing all of the time. And this represents people all over the world that are talking daily about brands, about other people. They're pinging one another's Whuffie all the time. But here's a word of caution. If you enter these social networks with the intent to sell, with the intent to tap in and pull out some sort of sales from these, you're going to be greeted with something like this. Because you cannot buy Whuffie. Whuffie does not equal market capital. People join online communities to make connections. And connections over time equal trust, which is the basis of Whuffie. Credibility really, really matters here. So when if you're a company that is thinking about, well, let's pay people to talk really positively about my brand, you should know that if people are known to take money about a product, to talk about a product, they lose their credibility and they lose their Whuffie. And without Whuffie, they're going to lose those connections that are so essential to these online communities.